Michael just a little bit closer so we can see you right
Okay, there he is.
So we have Michael Harris right here and Zion, the owner of Kujichagulia restaurant for how long? Oh,
Oh
nearly
Lord, have
20
mercy.
years.
Quarter century.
And also Zion Ethiopia podcast. So you're here, so we're here, so because of Kwanzaa. And I've known what Mike for over 20 years now.
Way, yeah.
Shoot, since 2004, four, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
nearly 20 years. 20 years. That's
Lord
a
have
long
mercy.
time. But I've learned a lot from you, especially when it comes to our history, African American history, who we are, our identity as people, as a community. So I've learned a lot from you. And you also do black agriculture. You do a lot of stuff, gosh. So, but today we're here to talk about Kwanzaa. You know, even though I'm African, I still learn about Kwanzaa here when I'm here. I didn't even know anything about Kwanzaa principle. And we just want to make sure Kwanzaa is not a religion. A lot of people get misunderstood about religion. It's actually a principle for us, black community, to really go by. And yesterday was unity, or umoja. And then today we have self-determination.
Right.
So if you can pronounce it for us, you know, even me, I'm African, it's hard for me to pronounce it, but it is what it is. It's
Kujichagulia.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because there's so many language, so many cultures in Africa.
Yes.
The Zion tongue is deeply bred and loved in Ethiopia.
Yes.
This is Swahili.
Yes.
You know, so there's a different swing to your tongue to say Kujicha.
Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia.
Through the prism of California.
Yes.
Because Kwanzaa is a California grown holiday.
Oh, okay.
And ironically, Malana Karanga was born Ron Everett on the Eastern Shore in Maryland, a slave state, on a chicken farm. He was the youngest of many kids, I think 10. And Maryland is a slave state. It's still very rural, very agricultural based today.
Yes.
I spent some time there in the fall and really nurturing the relationship where black people came during the oil and gold rush. They came from these slave states, Delaware, New York, Virginia, and they came to California in the gold rush era. So that's somebody's got to take this deep dive.
Wow.
And the place to do it is in the old communities during the slave trade where people got free.
Yes.
So before Harriet Tubman, the name she chose, she was Aminta. She was enslaved, not too far from where Malana Karanga was sharecropping their family, and his father was a minister. But he came to California and synthesized this ancient tradition of celebrating the harvest with principles and practices for people of African descent to know who they were. Because black people had no idea. How could they know? This is the 60s.
Wow.
We singing "We Shall Overcome" because we had never come.
Yeah.
So that's what this principle today is: self-determination.
Yes.
To name, define, create, speak for ourselves.
Yeah.
And this is like unheard of in the 60s.
Yeah.
This is before "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud."
Yeah, and 60s is not even that long ago. It's not even like 100 years ago.
No,
sounds like that.
I was born in '63. And so Kwanzaa is like 3 years younger than me.
Yeah. Wow.
So people are like, "Oh, it's not real."
Yeah.
Well, because you don't celebrate it, you don't understand it, you don't know it.
Yeah.
It's not where a talking snowman or flying reindeer. I'm pretty sure y'all know that's not real.
Yeah.
Y'all don't come at Christmas like that.
Yeah.
Y'all come, at a Pan-African holiday that has helped so many people
Yeah.
begin to understand who they are. And most people have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
They have not done the genealogy,
Yeah.
have not done a little swab test and tell you what tribe your mama came from
Yeah.
in Africa. If you're African,
Yeah.
then the swab
Yeah.
gonna tell you where you came from.
Yeah. And it means nothing because the reason why I say, DNA means nothing because it's still, even though it's like me. Even though I'm from Ethiopia, I grew up in England. I grew up in here. So it's so hard for me to relate to, even though I'm Ethiopian, to the Ethiopians than more than I relate to the Western civilization because this is where this Western country I grew up with. So the principle like Kwanzaa,
Right.
it's like a foundation, not just only for African American, even for Africans,
Of course.
for all Pan Africans. We need our principle. I mean, God gave us the Ten Commandments. That's the principle that we were supposed to, obey. We couldn't do that. That's why we ended up in here.
Right.
Now we have a principle, seven principles that we can actually put our foundation, our community on, so we can thrive.
So we can
So if
thrive.
you can just tell us a little bit about the seventh principle.
All seven? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first principle is umoja.
Yeah.
And it's unity.
Yeah. That's important. Unity is the most important thing for our community
It
because
is.
we've been divided by design from a man to a woman, from our color, from our culture, from our background. So it was designed, especially Willie Lynch letter. That was the whole point of Willie Lynch letter, is really to divide the black community by design. So we really have to redesign that program to bring our community united.
So that's the strategy and the deep thought by
Yes.
this master teacher, Milana
Yeah.
Karenga.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of contradictions. We all have them.
Yeah.
But if you look at how these seven principles are put
Mhm.
together, it says to strive
Yeah.
and maintain
Yes.
unity in the family, community, nation, and race. So
Absolutely.
if you don't have good self-control of yourself, you're not going to be able to unify with nobody.
Yes.
You can't even unify with yourself.
Yeah. It's
So
hard.
strive and maintain. Well, you have to strive. You have to decide that, hey, look, I'm gonna be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is how we discuss and talk about uh, the principles of Kwanzaa. We focus on one a day
Yeah.
and intergenerational communication. So
Yeah.
the kids are in there listening to great grandma in the room having
Yeah.
the same conversation about unity.
That's
Because
right.
grandma couldn't go to school, wasn't no
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and mama had to walk to school.
Yeah.
My mama.
Yeah.
And then when they moved out to California,
Mhm.
I laugh and joke about it because they was on Route 66,
Yeah.
getting their kicks, and they rolled into San Bernardino and then eventually to Vallejo, California. But my mom is still here. We have these conversations, and we have these deep dives about what it was like,
Yeah.
in rural Alabama, growing all the food. And so we want to do that. But her mom, my grandmother, and my grandmother's mom, and then her mom, we go all the way back. We have done the genealogy.
Yeah.
And I said, my mama need a little spit because I
Yeah.
want to do the test. She said, no, well, I'm not interested in doing that.
Yeah.
So I have to go get my great aunt to go get some saliva
Yeah.
to find out,
Yeah.
which, because I used to get whoopings, talking about grandma, mama, Narcissus. Were you on that last slave ship, on the Tongue Bigby, that Clotilde down at the port in Mobile?
Yeah.
I thought that's a fair question, right? But maybe I didn't ask it in a good way. But it wasn't like I did something really wrong, but I knew not to ask that question. But now I'm a grown man, I can find that answer to myself. But so today's principle, the second principle is Kujichagulia.
Kujichagulia.
She got it. She got it.
Kujichagulia.
She spun that.
Yeah. Now my African stuff is coming out.
Because again, it's and the reason why Dr. Karenga selected Kiswahili is because it's not specific to one country, or one people or one tribe.
Yeah.
It's the trade language.
Yes.
And
that was my brother speaks.
A lot of people speak it because it's kind of like American English.
Mm-hmm.
There's bits and pieces taken out of everything, out of every place.
Mm-hmm.
And so the third principle is Ujima,
regime. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be tomorrow. We'll celebrate tomorrow's
That's
principle.
right.
It's Jama, and then it is Nia,
Yeah.
and then it is uh, uh,
What was Nia? Nia
creativity.
was creativity.
Nia is purpose.
Purpose.
And
what about the collaboration?
Well, it's cooperative economics.
Cooperative economics. That's important.
That's so Ujamaa,
Ujamaa.
and this again is all in Swahili.
Yeah.
And so there you take a deep dive on these, and you, again intergeneration.
Yes.
So what does cooperative economics mean? Because I know Zion, she is about business.
Yeah.
When I first met her, she was business. I was laughing and joking with her because y'all don't understand. Back in the day, they had movie theaters that were round, right?
Yeah.
And it was like 3-4 round movie theaters over here at the Century Theater, over at Arden Way,
Yes,
And she had this little shop behind it, back in the corner. And then she had this gift shop. And one of our teachers, my teacher was Dr. Kennan, who had a title of Lige McConan, which means like the son of Haile Selassie. And so they have a relationship about agriculture.
Yes.
And so this is my teacher. I go to his house and we hanging out, and he's teaching me these things about Ethiopia. And he said, go help this sister. She kind of cute. Keep your hands off her. So me and Zion been friends ever since, because I have a frame of reference for our relationship by my teacher. Yeah. So I'm like, well, wait a minute now. She's kind of cute. And he's like, keep your hands off her. So she been my sister.
Ever since.
I mean, and so.
And you been my big brother.
But then because there's power in that, because when you say brother and sister or aunt and auntie, it means one thing in some cultures. It means another thing in other cultures. Yeah. And you go to Africa, I can't, if I go to Africa, I might not come back, because there's so much love and there's so much opportunity and so many people that want you to do well, and here there isn't. And so that's why these principles
are important.
Because some people, they barely celebrate Kwanzaa on the celebration of the holiday. Yeah. Barely. This is 58 years into Kwanzaa, and they still don't know Kwanzaa. 7 symbols, 7 principles. And the idea that we're supposed to use these Kwanzaa principles year round. Yeah. Years ago, we joked and talking about we're going to change Monday to emotion. And we ain't gonna start using Monday no more. We're gonna use emotion. Yeah. But people are. So the idea that we can define ourselves and speak for ourselves, we're actually doing a wonderful job. Yes. If we take a step back and look at how far we've come. This year we're celebrating the 175th anniversary of California through the prism of Matunda ya Kwanzaa. And this is for everybody. Yeah. White folks gonna have to celebrate it that way too, because we've secured the permits, we've done enough work at the Capitol, and the people say, well, you're the only one talking about it, so go ahead.
Yeah, I mean the Kwanzaa principle is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody. It works. I like it. The unity I'm always talking about. Why isn't our Black people united? I know it was by design. Why can't we work together, 3, 4, 5 of us, just like every other community, so we can actually put back our money back into our community? Right now, our money in our Black community, 90% of it is out. Nothing is coming back to us.
Nothing.
So how do we create that determination, unity, collective work, faith, and all that comes with it for us, in order for us to come together, really work together and create a generational work like every other community did.
Everything you're saying is bringing the consciousness, the principles of Kwanzaa alive. Yeah. You have celebrated Kwanzaa since I first met you.
Yeah. You've been bringing me. Thank you for that. I'm serious. Every time what on your Kwanzaa? It's time for Kwanzaa.
But I'll give you the perfect example. So y'all need to hear this. This is like special. I said, Zena, all we need is 5 people to come to a meeting downtown. Yes. Just come, trust me.
That's called unity. See?
That's what I'm saying. Unity. We have 5 people. Yeah. And we went to a meeting, the Food and Ag Board meeting, and I knew once they walked in the door, They looking at me and I'm looking at them. I'm like, just a wrap. So then we go to the food and ag board meeting. I said, Zion. I told him I have a gift for them. And so then Zion walks in the door and I sit her down between the ag secretary and the dean of the largest ag school in California. And the board is eating Ethiopian food. And I'm just sitting there trying not to laugh out loud, too loud. Because I know once they taste the food, they meet Zion, they see the vision, and they ain't never seen 5 black people at the meeting before. Next thing you know, we have Tef growing in the field, and so now we're up in Cape Valley. Zion is, I mean, there's. So what I'm saying that to say, we've done it.
Yeah.
We haven't consciously. You can't do anything in this world by yourself.
That's what I tell people too. You know what God said: 1% can defeat 1,000, 2% can defeat maybe 10, but 100,000. You know, so if we come together,
faith, and you working together.
Yes,
you know, important. That's how we got free.
Yeah,
it's black men. One day you a slave, the next day here's a gun. Go fight for your freedom if you want freedom. Yeah. They start running 30 miles to the next battlefield. Next thing you know, we free, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have enough sense to honor them today, and the bridges that brought us this far along the way, and to do what they did. And so I applaud what you're doing. Yeah. This is my first time in this location, and it's not open, right? Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's not fully permitted and licensed and signed off, but it's open. It's open. Yeah. We walked in the door. But so the question is how do, no different than what you've done at your restaurant? I mean, I can think of poetry sessions with, you know,
with events they use.
I mean, just so many things. Well, because they changed the rules, and you got to have an entertainment license and permit, and there's all sorts of crazy things. Rules. They doing what they supposed to do. Yes. I mean, that's what they're supposed to control it and get money. But that's why, and you just, you know, use some cooperative economics and got another space where you can do that. Yes. And so the question is how do we support my sister in keeping this going? Mm-hmm. And that's on our community. So I'd say just have just like the churches do. They have a fund where 10% is set aside. You already do it, but you need to make it clear how much you give to the community. Yeah. Like today, we're in the Capitol, and you know, I call like because there's so much stuff going on. And I'm like, we need to do a Taste of Africa. It's Friday. We need some food. So this is my sister. She brought some food. But because, I mean, you know, it's real easy to say, okay, you go and pay some food. But it's like, it's too much money going in and out. And it's like, there's no cooperative economics. We refuse, in the past, we have refused, and I'm talking about 25, 26 years, to say we're going to go ask for money to celebrate Kwanzaa. But now there's so many rules and regulations. Somebody got to put the money in. I think it's crazy enough to say I'm going to keep doing it anyway.
But I'm glad you are. You never stop.
I can't stop.
We have to be intentional. Just like me, I'm still gonna, no matter how hard it is to really grow my food, I am determined. You see, that's self-determination.
Self-determination.
To, you know, fulfill our purposes on this earth. But there is so much disruption, especially for us. Like
there's obstacles. There's so many obstacles.
Why though?
Well,
they have to be so much harder. Like, especially for us, we're trying to do good, and instead of being encouraged.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
But at the same time, we have like the force trying to bring us down, and then we're fighting. And at the same time, we divided also. So we have to be very intentional. That's why I think Kwanzaa is a principle, really. It's amazing, not just for Africans, African Americans, for everybody to go by, to unite, because it says, even on the unity, it says family and community and nation and race.
And race.
The human race.
The human race.
So, but right now the human race is divided. We are divided by race, by community, by color, and all that. That was by design. We need to bring that back. saying that no, we as a human being, we all are God's children.
Well, yes, I'm agreeing with you that we're all God's children.
Yes.
The challenge is some people call God Olodumare, some people call him Shinto or Quetzalcoatl, and it's, people want to get divided, but the food is what brings us together.
Yeah.
You can't tell me,
Yeah.
is that a Chinese carrot or that's, a Jamaican carrot. You ain't gonna know until you taste it.
Yeah.
Now, once you taste it,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's got a little jerk on
Yeah.
it. That's Jamaican carrot.
Yeah.
Or
the spices.
you
Yeah.
can, once you put some spices on it, you can tell what it is. But if you, same thing with a tomato, same
Yeah.
thing with a piece of chicken.
Yeah.
If y'all want to be vegan, go. That's that in Africa we eat meat, but we primarily vegetarian.
Yeah, mainly vegan.
Some of y'all want to eat some meat because
Yeah.
there's some testosterone in the meat, but that's another discussion.
That's another.
But the idea is that you have to use these principles first off for yourself, and then have these conversations with your family. Light a candle at your house, where you can have the unity cup and you can actually share the unity cup again, because we ain't going out in public sharing no unity cup no more, because there's just too many communicable diseases. But the idea that I was just thinking, anyway, I'm not going there, but it's dear to my heart, because part of our family, there's a hole in your heart that doesn't really get filled when somebody close to you dies from one of these communicable diseases. Maybe coulda, woulda, shoulda, but that don't bring them back. So the idea is, again, to use these principles as a way to live your life daily, and then celebrate them at the end of the year with Kwanzaa. Recommit, reconnect, reassess. You get gifts, Zawadi, based upon promises made, promises kept. So if you don't make any promises, you ain't gonna keep none. And then promises to who? To yourself, to your family, to your community. Imagine if we just say, okay, what am I going to do specifically for the community this year? You do it every year. I do it every year. We're going to do Kwanzaa. We're going to give a lot for Kwanzaa. We're going to do Black History Month. We're going to give a lot to celebrate, Black History Month. Juneteenth, we're going to be at the Capitol. We're going to be celebrating Juneteenth. We lobby to make it a federal holiday. We're going to make it a state holiday, official. Ain't nobody, well, if we wanted to, we probably could raise some money and get paid to do that. But this is given to the community.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about 1 year. I'm talking about a quarter of a century. And the people that was, on my team have been doing it a quarter of a century since I got there. And some of them dead and gone. But that's how we got out of slavery. And that's how, when we were in Africa, wasn't no white people. We still had to make these principles come alive. So that lion coming at you, baby, guess what? Cooperative economics is good. Because that lion is going to kill you if you don't have some people around you that can trust. And then you could, become a man by going through your rites of passage. But there's people around you making sure that you got a good chance against this lion. You ain't out there by yourself against this lion.
Protected.
Don't believe that.
I honestly feel like right now in our community, we're not protected. I mean, the policy they have at the state level, at the federal level, policy is supposed to be protecting community, everybody. But when we looking at where we at as a Black community, where we at, I mean, we are still poverty. Still, our kids are still killing each other from guns. And our nutrition, we don't have access to nutrition food where our communities are. So all this by design, the principle of Kwanzaa, if we really study and live on those principles, we can turn around this in 5, 10, 20 years.
Oh, sooner than that. So, I mean, just the idea of Mutunda ya Kwanzaa is first fruits of the harvest.
Yeah.
We don't have no harvest here in Sacramento.
We're going to now.
We don't have. We.
Okay.
Okay, but that's,
next year we're gonna do Kwanzaa at the lunch.
We could do it on the land.
Yes.
See, the beauty is, and trust me,
Yeah.
Because I still go to the meetings.
Yeah.
And I still participate with Seed Central, and where the number one industry in California is agriculture's $400 billion annual industry, and where the for real seed players, where they actually register seed, where we went in there, and they're like, we ain't never seen no black people in here before. Because why would we register seed? We ain't got no farm. It doesn't make any sense. So, and it's a black man in there helping us, walking us through, taking us by the hand and walking us through the process.
Yes.
And so the partnerships that have been established are there to help us.
Yes.
But it didn't happen by choice that we go to a black farmer conference and people are hugging and loving on you.
Yeah.
They was like knocking you out, maybe, 25 years ago.
Sorry about my fault.
Yeah, that's fine. For real, that's what they did.
Yeah.
I mean, the USDA, the ones that's loving on you now, was the same people like, okay, now where is your farm?
Yeah.
And they would make sure that your farm, if there was something wrong with it, they'd find it and make sure that you wasn't going to get anything. In some places.
Yeah.
And, to the degree that there was 14 million acres of land, almost 1 million farmers, and now we down to 4 million acres of land and less than 40,000 farmers. This is nationwide.
Yeah.
So the number one black farmer is in Texas. They have like 4,000.
Wow.
And we don't even have 400
mind
here
you,
in the whole state of California.
Why black people from the beginning came in this country is for farming.
Well, we weren't farmers. We were ag labor, unpaid.
For free. For 400 years.
Unpaid ag labor.
I mean, that's a lot. Feeding human beings is the most important part.
Well, see, that's it. We weren't feeding them. We were what was called chattel. We were not human beings. We were 3/5 of a human being.
Yeah, but that's delusion. But that's by design. Well, that's what they want to believe. But God didn't say that. So who asked us to believe that? You see what I mean? Every time everybody tells us we this and with that. Who are we to believe? Just like how they put Jesus like the blue eyes and blonde hair. But he came from a black woman, Mariam. Mary was changed later. Mariam was Ethiopian. Her ancestors were a black woman. Jesus was a black man. Came from a black woman, from Israelites that fled from Africa to Israel. That's the history there, but they changed it. But we believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe Jesus was a white man or Mary was a white woman. The same thing, like if they say I'm half or whatever, 3/4 of a human being, who asked us to believe that?
Well, they didn't ask us. What they did, and this is why Kujichagulia is so important, is self-determination. And so
to change all that history
when we were
manipulated
put
history.
in the slave trade because we lost a war. They're over there militarily, and I gotta look at it. I heard the rumor that the Pope has declared the year Jubilee and they making atonement. I said, well, let's go back to when the Pope
they're making what?
Atonement for what they've done. So the Pope is the one that said go down there and get some slaves, and now this new one is saying, hey, look, let's have a Jubilee year and take a look at all the chaos we didn't cause as a Catholic Church. We need to fix it. So let's fix it.
Fix it.
Well,
as soon as possible.
Well, we need to see what he's talking about and help him.
Yeah.
If he wants to fix it, well, this
Why
is what.
Not?
What did you do? Let's make
it's
sure
gonna
you
work
did this.
for this generation, because maybe for that generation it worked, but for the next generation, even in any other community, they would reject what the human being did for 400 years, and they don't want to pay for it. Reparation. They don't want to pay reparation. They don't want to give equity to the black people who built this country for 400 years for free. That's a long time.
Okay, so
again, and people cannot be in denial on that.
Well, they are.
No, they can't, because
they
that's
are.
what self-determination. Now we have to fight for policy and
Yeah.
legislation change. So all that 400 years they used Africans and African Americans to build this country, Europe, everyone, the whole world. Now it's time to pay back.
Right.
With a love. We're not saying like let's go to war, whatever.
Right.
But put the money into the community, the fund, so we can actually sustain ourselves.
Well,
But
you're
deliberately, they
absolutely
don't
right.
even want to give us that.
Well, they're not going to give us anything.
That's what I'm saying. Why not?
Well, because that's not how way democracy works.
No, there's no
You have
democracy.
to-
Who said so? It's their democracy. It's not our democracy.
So
You know.
once we finish with Kwanzaa, we got a little week break, and then just as we've done in the past, we go to the meeting. We sit with the
Yeah.
power people,
Yeah, we have
and
to
we
create
sit with the power
policy
people.
and fight for policy so
Well,
they can
well,
change all
well,
this.
see, that's
they've
the only
been
way it's going to
operating
change.
by for
We-
a long time.
Zion, we go into the meeting, and all the agency heads are sitting at the dais, and
Yeah.
they come and they hug us and love on us. And then when it comes time to write what we're going to actually do,
Hmm.
sometimes it's our own people that's like against us.
Because we're not united.
And that's why. So now we're united.
Mhm.
And this next few years,
No, it's gonna be different.
well, because first of all, there's more women
Yeah.
in the legislature than ever before.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't make everything easier. It just makes it much nicer to work with, my perspective.
Yeah.
And they listen.
Yeah.
Women listen more than men. That's just reality.
Yeah.
And they're younger people that have good sense, and they like want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Just so happens
Hmm.
these are like the controller,
Hmm.
the treasurer, the chair of all these big
Legislators.
So this is like, I said, Zion, would you just get in the picture with this sister? She's like, well, who is she? Just take the picture first. I'll tell you who she is later. And so there's so many of them, right? Because I was 5 years old when my father's working at the Capitol. And so, I'm a kid, inquisitive, reading everything. And it's like a babysitter saying no. So sometimes I would go with my dad, and I would just, the Capitol is just a playground.
Yeah.
And so now it's still a playground. I mean,
People don't know they can actually go there and knock on, these are the people that work for us, for the people.
And you just tell them just what you say. Don't you work for me?
Yeah, they get paid from our taxpayers' money. I mean, these government workers, they sit there and judge what we need to do, what we don't need to do, especially for business people. Some of them have no clue, and we just think they know. They don't. I mean, honestly, like, God help us.
But the thing is that Zion and there's others say, okay, well, Michael crazy, but he ain't stupid. So let me go see for myself. And then she's sitting in the meeting, with the lieutenant governor, with the, the head of transportation, the head of the agriculture department, and you can just listen and look at them. And then once you have been there long enough and you actually know what they're talking about, and you actually read the document, then you can have something positive to say.
Yeah.
We came so close to getting stuff happen, but this is politics. You don't win one time going in the door.
I mean, how ignorant this politician, whoever most of them are ignorant when it comes to especially Black community. They have no clue what we go through, how people are suffering because of the policy they put. Look at the homelessness right now. It's them who put that policy, created the homelessness problem, and they just pretend, oh, why is the homeless problem? Because the policy they created. They put that money into the bigger companies and instead of putting into the people who need it. So those are the kind of like policy they create, is that most people, they don't know what they're doing. They're just working with the big companies while they're deserving the community that they're supposed to be working for. And they are not. When we're trying to ask for reparation, that was another story. But we're going to go back in January 9 to knock on the legislators to say, look, educate them. We have to educate them. They have no clue. I mean, they go to school. and they graduate and they just get hired, middle class, upper class job. They have no clue, especially the community they serve, which are, especially when it comes to black community, we're still 30% in poverty. Our youth are, nowhere. So why are we paying taxes as black people? What? The taxes doesn't come back to our community. It's not protecting our community.
So what you're describing is the way that America was treated when we were a colony of British, and these folks are talking about no representation, no taxation without representation, and that's
why we are. Where is the taxpayers' money coming back to our community?
So there's people that wrote books about this. Then of course, we need a revolution. Some people say that, right?
Yeah.
But what are we going to replace it with? So if you kind of have
with the
right people, so that's what elections are for.
Yeah.
And so this time around, trust me, there's some better people there, and they move in.
Well, tell me one. Like, I mean, I'm at the city level, at the county level, at the state level. Give me one name.
One name who's going to help? Name. Okay, today.
Yeah. Who helped really even black community?
Well, wait, one name black community?
No, who helped black community put the money back into black community, fight for policy?
The new chair of the of the Legislative Black Caucus is Dr. Akila Weber. Now wait a minute.
Sherry Weber?
Her daughter.
Well, her daughter, not the legislator.
Yeah, she's a senator from San Diego.
But we still didn't pass the reparations.
Well, that's reparations. That's their.
No, it was the Black Caucus was the one, in fact, who pulled it out.
Okay, that's one bill.
So
that's one bill.
What bill? What bill have we passed?
I'm telling you.
Okay, one bill. One bill. Let me know. One policy the Black Caucus has passed. One that helped black people. One.
There's a bunch of them.
If you don't know,
I don't have the actual bill. I'm not a lobbyist.
No,
so I don't have
I'm just telling you they don't have one. I'm just telling you there isn't one.
They have, and
I'm
gonna tell you why.
Listen, they have passed policy that for everybody else, but policy.
Okay, I'll give you one.
I'll give you one. Black people.
I'll give you one.
Give me one.
They passed money, a big fat check, to set up a black farm up in the ice on Immigrant Gap.
What?
Immigrant Gap. Yes, black people got a bunch of money to set up a farm up in the ice on Immigrant Gap. A big farm. Big multi-million-dollar project.
How much they give it?
From the state
money. From the state money that goes to the black people.
Yes. Black people.
That's one. That's probably paid like we have $300 billion.
I'll give you another one.
$300 billion a year.
Of course.
The state budget is $300 billion a year. How many percentage of it even come? 0.1% does not come into our black community. Okay, one. I have to check on that. How much money they're investing on that? Our black farmers are suffering.
Of course.
Right now. So what policy is passed for black farmers? We still have to fight for black farmers policy.
Well, the first time in my 25 years of in Washington D.C. writing federal policy that we mentioned black farmers, they just voted him out of office, and so he's still there. But
we have nothing.
He's no
we
longer.
have no policy for black people. They don't put no money back into our black people. I'm telling you, we have no money for small businesses. We have no equity for access to nutrition, food, housing, education.
The first time you went to a black farmer conference in Fresno.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see you there.
Yeah.
And then we were there. We pulled out the Kwanzaa table. They don't know nothing about. These are black farmers. And we started talking and singing about Kwanzaa. And they was like, what is he talking about? I said, it's first fruits of the harvest. But there is a positive response because the USDA official trying to be friendly to you.
But look, that's not true. Look, the USDA people at that time, we had like 10 of them, 10 USDA agencies. So that's what I'm talking about. All the money goes into these agencies and non-profits in the name of helping us, but they're really creating middle class, upper class jobs for themselves. And we are like, we have to go through arms and legs even to get a little bit fund from those agencies. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
I'm in the room.
they created
And
this.
they
They created the middle red tape, so we can actually
Government bureaucracy.
Yeah, we can't get the money directly from the budget. So they deliberately distribute the budget to their friends and community, whatever, to the big businesses. So by the time it comes to us, there is 0.001% of the budget from the state level, from the county level, from the city level, does not come into our community. Right now, we actually just removed the city manager because how bad he is, especially for our community. So the next city manager, we better make him accountable.
I hope he's not worse, because at least he was fair, and at least he was there.
Who was fair?
Uh, the city manager.
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. He was so unfair. He was. What did he do for black community? Tell me one thing.
There's nothing he can do specific. For
Why
black
not?
He gave money to black organizations.
Where? Who? He gave nothing to what?
You better call J.
King.
But there's okay. So look, there's a Black Child Legacy campaign. This is the county, and Phil Cerna championed this over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and because of the rates of infant mortality for pregnancies of women, Sacramento County was a third world nation in terms of how many black women were dying during childbirth. And you can go to the county said, hey, look, it's racism is a public health crisis in our county. Now, specific things that what they've done, I haven't been, my pulse hasn't been on top of it.
I'm just telling you specifically, they haven't done nothing for black community at the county level, the city level, the state level. They just eating it the whole budget to themselves, to their own community.
So Zion,
I don't
we're gonna come down there. You and I gotta go back together.
The county, they have $8.9 billion. We need to fight at least 1% of it. If we fight for 1% at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, to get rid of our poverty that they put in our community by design, we would get rid of all that within a year or 2 years.
Well,
but they don't want to do that.
Well, no, they might.
We're going to fight for 1%. Okay, should we fight for 1%?
Well, if
1%.
If you have a policy paper for this 1%,
we gotta write the policy.
Okay, well that's what we gotta do.
That's what collective work. We need to bring the policy writers, the lawyers, and then we go and fight them.
The most important thing is, if you're gonna go down there and play politics, you have to go with the right tools.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a lobbyist.
That's what I'm saying. Why we need a lobby? We gotta lobby ourselves now. I mean, what can we do?
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. But you gotta have. This is the way it works at the Capitol.
We don't have the money. That's what I'm saying to you. Look, these people, how they design it, because they know black people we don't have the money to hire lobbyists. You have to be a big company to have your own lobbyists because they charge arms and legs. The lawyers charge arms and legs. The policy writers charge a lot of money. So that is why we need 1% of the money to come back to our community to build our community, because they have not done that.
Well, I'm agreeing with you that the problem is there. The solution down at the Capitol, because I've written policy, closer to a lobbyist as you could get without being a registered lobbyist, is because I'm there to educate and advocate. Yes. And have done so for 25 years. And so because of that, you don't have to pay money. You have relationships with people. But the thing is I'm old now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm tired of fighting these politicians.
I'm not
they play politics.
Well, they're going to play
on
politics.
Human beings.
Okay,
our kids still, come on, suffering. Well, our women are suffering from, and our children are suffering in our community, while no policy to solve those problems.
So we have to come up with a plan. and a strategy.
That's what I'm saying.
And we only need, again, like I told you before,
we only need few
we
people.
need 5 people.
Yeah.
We don't need.
I'm serious.
We don't need.
Let's
when we,
go. Let's go. I'm ready.
because the
20,
room is only
25.
so big,
Yeah.
and you can't get everybody in the room. But when there's a
Yeah.
rally to
The
say,
right
hey, look,
people. The right.
well,
we need the right
you
people.
gotta have.
Yeah.
You gotta have a lawyer, because this is law you change. You gotta use the
Yeah,
right words,
policy writer.
and you need policy writers.
Yeah.
You need somebody that's gonna help
Community,
raise some money,
Yeah.
because you gotta talk to all. You gotta get at
Yeah.
least
Yeah.
50 plus 1 votes. So you gotta talk. You gotta walk across the aisle
Yeah.
and speak to the Republicans. So you gotta talk
Yeah.
to them, and you
Not
gotta.
only Republicans, the Democrats
You
are
can-
even the worst. They don't want to have no black people. I'm serious. They just want to use black people so they can keep on being voted.
Zion,
But
you
they
got-
never put nothing,
I'm
no
gonna have to
policy.
give you-
Where is the policy
Right.
that would help black people? I haven't seen one.
And then and here we go. Part of our strategy.
They don't even want to pay reparation. That's not fair. We need our reparation. I don't get no reparation, but I want my African Americans to get their reparation tomorrow.
Well, it's not gonna happen tomorrow.
But it will not happen.
It's not
It
gonna
would
happen.
have happened if the governor did not pull it through. And the black caucus too. They did that to us.
Well, I
It was
wasn't there.
already so
I didn't
close
see
to
it.
pass. It was so close to pass. Last minute, the black caucus, our own people, supposed to help us pull that out last minute.
Well-
To what? To please the governor. Isn't that what happened?
Well,
Now we have to refight again in January and lobby again in January 7th. Going to and everybody needs to come there too, to lobby all these legislators. How, honestly to God, this is, even these people, like we were talking about, this lady was saying like, oh, I came from, my parents came from Mexico, whatever they came from, like generation before. And I'm like, but you're benefiting, your parents benefited from our people paying for it for 400 years. That's why you're able to do what you do in this country, including me.
right.
If we don't understand that, they shouldn't even be on politics on those platforms.
So again, what we have to do is take a step back and find out why the Black Caucus pulled the bill.
No,
We have to, because the same people are there.
Because it's politics.
Well, then
They all play
that's why you need
politics.
somebody.
While our people pay for it, they play politics on our kids. They play politics on our women and children suffering right now from the gun violence, the police violence, the poverty, and everything. While our people are suffering, they play politics.
So
And instead of putting the
But you're
money,
right.
the fund to invest in the community, I don't see them doing that. Are they investing in our community?
So the
Except
budget,
justification, that's what they do.
the budget committee chairs
Do we have black people in there?
on the budget committee. Yes, yes.
How many?
They have new assigned committees. I haven't looked at them yet. They should be out.
There isn't. You go to.
Wait a minute
You
now.
go to. I gotta go to. You go to the city, the county. There's no black people.
Well, there's some black people at the county. I'm talking about at the assembly.
If we're not sitting on the table at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, not the people that they put themselves, the gatekeepers. They have the gatekeepers too from our own community. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the community leaders who really doing the work in the community. They don't want to put those people in there. So, and they put the black people that would be the gatekeeper. So now we can't benefit nothing because they're holding everything, the fund back. So if we don't give us the fund, how are we going to thrive?
Look, Zion, I hope that we can have a strategy for 2025
2025.
because what?
Now we have a new governor, a new mayor.
No, it's the same governor.
No, I mean, we're going to have a new city manager. And we have a new mayor too.
Well, yes.
The governor, I'm sure he's,
Well, okay.
He's
Now, I just want to see. I want to see your face, and I'm gonna show you this later. So, the governor and his wife did a wonderful, heartfelt Kwanzaa message to the people.
And what did they say?
You know, I want you to see it here.
No,
It sounded
I'll
wonderful.
Yeah.
And so the question is, since you referenced how he encouraged the Black Caucus to pull the reparations bill, is, you know, to share how does the principles of Kwanzaa, you know, that you lovingly shared,
Yeah.
how come we can't apply them to a reparative justice conversation?
Yes.
Because I don't like me personally, I don't like the word reparations. I like reparative justice.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same thing. Because justice requires a cognitive question of what harm was done.
Yeah.
Reparations is like, hey, look, my great grandmama was a slave. I want some money. Well, okay, well, she wasn't a slave in California, so should California pay for what happened to your great grandmama in Louisiana? That's hard to say. But if you come to the conversation like, hey, look, California was established in 1846. These are the laws that California legislature put on the books that disenfranchise Black people, and this is the economic impact that it has. Maybe they've done that. I haven't been in that conversation because I can't spend that kind of time, you know, in my limited capacity as a, you know, a retired, semi-retired person healing myself. I can't focus that energy, you know. But y'all go hire a lobbyist to answer these questions.
Yeah, but the reason why I like reparation and equity.
Right, equity is good.
Equity is good, reparation is good too, because the African American people worked for 400 years, just like everybody else.
California is 175 years.
No, I'm not talking about eventually every state should give. I'm not saying, I mean, because even the governor says, if when California sneezes, everybody cuts.
But see, people won't even acknowledge that there was slavery in California.
But I'm saying, don't worry about the people. I'm talking about the politicians know the truth. The people don't know.
They don't know.
Then they're going to have to educate themselves.
No, you have to have a lobbyist to educate
They don't know. They just don't want to put the fund into look, to invest, whether it's reparation, equity, whatever way. We want to bring the fund back to our community. And it has not been done that.
It hasn't.
That's what I'm saying. You know, reparation, you can split it. At the end of the day, we need the fund to repair ourselves, to invest in ourselves. That's what I'm saying. Whether equity, whether whatever way, no money is coming to our community.
And so, so
no funds.
Yeah, we can have this conversation after Black History Month, but we have to put this policy in place. And the reason why, because some of my teachers have been leading the way to help frame the conversation around reparation and the reparations task force at the city level, at the state level. I don't know if there's anything big done, anything at the county level, but there are people that have been doing this for a long time, and there is a methodology to make it happen. And we know where the money is.
Yeah, 2025, I can guarantee you're going to make it happen.
Well,
whether a caucus, Black caucus, or whoever, not whatever it is, honestly, to God, because it's not fair. It's not fair on our youth. It's not fair out on Black community. They always look for something, this and this, not to give back to the money that we pay. We pay tax too. But until they show me where their reparation, where the fund is,
right?
I don't trust them.
Well,
I don't believe anything they say is they don't want to give us the fund. So we have education, we have people, we have universities under the sun in America. We have everything. Thank God for African American paying for it. Do you see what I mean? But when it comes to the fund, though, they don't want to invest in our community.
Of course not.
Why not?
Well, if you go back to when California was first founded, and they said white men only.
That's then.
Well,
but I'm talking about
you just
right
said now you don't get no funding.
From then, I'm talking about we pay tax right now. They're collecting 300 billion, 400 billion a year. So how do we get the fund from that so we can put it back into our youth and our kids?
I'm telling you how you have to do it. You have to go to the budget committee and see what's in the budget.
That's what we're going to do.
Then figure out
2025.
Well,
we're going to fight for 1% of the taxes. That's That's not asking
Well,
too much.
well,
You
it
know,
might.
1% of the budget from the state is $3 billion. If they give black people $3 billion a year, we will be the richest people in the world. We can build our real estate, we can build our housing, we can build everything, access to nutrition, food, access to housing, access to our own education, alternative at least, access
But
to
wait a minute,
business and
Dion. You're gonna
entrepreneurship
get
opportunity.
three
But they
billion
don't want
dollars.
to
Are
do
you
that.
gonna get? So how you gonna
So
divide this over the state?
yeah, because in the state we only 2 million black people.
Okay.
So from 2 million people, if we create business people, entrepreneurship, and nonprofit, we can create our own economy right here.
So
But they don't
Zion,
want to give us that.
they okay. I'm gonna tell you,
One
just in the,
percent is
just
that.
in the agricultural game,
That's what I'm saying.
because if because the largest, I have to take you down. We have to go down.
Yeah.
It's a farm called Bloom Ranch,
Mhm.
and I'll show it before we leave tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna visit
But
that and
Bloom
see.
Ranch, this is the same. I met this brother on a plane ride to South Africa. I was
Mhm.
gifted a trip because they needed somebody to go and look and see that could make sense of some of these things,
Yeah.
and so that's why they had me on the plane. And so this brother is called Bloom Ranch,
Yeah.
and he by trade is a podiatrist. He saved Kunta Kinte's foot. John Amos. Kunta Kinte didn't get his foot chopped off in the movie, but he had diabetes and was in real life about to lose his foot. He saved his foot. He just passed this year, but it was. I mean, he lived a long life, good life. But that's where I met him. He saved his foot. He didn't have to get his foot amputated, and so now he has a book that he's selling, and his farm is telling you why you need certain foods, and not 5 colors a day. I think his name. I need to put that in my head. But Dr. Relaford at Bloom Ranch is walking the talk, just like you about to do. You're growing the food that you're serving to the community, and you give community food. You know, God only knows what you do, seen and unseen.
Yeah.
But the beauty is, you're in it for the right reason, and
That's
you want to
right.
fight for 1%, right?
Self-determination.
1%.
Yes.
She gonna fight for y'all for 1%.
That's right.
Lord
We're
have mercy.
going to 2025.
I think Kujichagulia, if
Yeah.
we
I have
decided,
fed. You know what was the fed? Yeah.
that's Imani, that's the
Imani,
seventh day.
Yeah.
And that's what you're supposed to meditate on the seventh
Yes.
day. You
Yes.
know, on the sixth day, we're supposed to have a community.
Yes.
Next year, you and I gonna do a community karamu.
Yes.
The way it's supposed to be for
Yes.
Kwanzaa,
Yes.
and bring everybody community wide together in one place, and not have these competition Kwanzaas
Yes.
where people are mad at you.
Yeah.
Well, why are you on the news? Because I've been doing this a long time, and they call me every year.
It's okay to be on the news. You gotta educate everybody.
I mean, but the thing is you ain't even 25 years old. I've been doing this before you was born, and you mad at me? That don't make no sense.
It's okay.
It just
Because
come.
it was by design,
But
you know.
I'm not worried about the design.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you come, don't call me upset.
Yeah.
Come, I will tell them to talk to you if you got
Yeah.
something to say.
Yeah.
But who are you, by the way, that's mad at me?
Yeah.
But I'm saying that
But
because
we
I
still
don't
have
care.
the Willie Lynch syndrome
Well, that
in our
we're not worried about Willie
because-
Lynch.
No, but he did say he's gonna make sure that we serve them for the next 1,000 years.
Okay,
so we gotta
part of
change
it,
that.
Willie Lynch was not real. He looked like Santa Claus. He wasn't real.
He was real.
No, he was. So
Have you read the Willie Lynch letter?
I'm saying it's a fake. And my friend Mainu Pim has definitively proved that it was a fake. You got to talk to Mainu about this.
That's
but
what they say.
Well, no, I'm talking about
They don't want
Mainu.
to be accountable for what they have created.
This is, of course, they create
Through
dissension.
that
That's what they're
Willie
supposed to
Lynch,
do.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you
by
this.
design. How
So they moved the end from Satan, and they stuck it in the middle, and so Satan becomes Santa, and he's never Asian white man at the North Pole breaking and entering everybody. This don't have nothing to do with Jesus, but this is the same thing.
No. Willie Lynch letter was a proper letter written
A proper letter.
by the guy. It's a program. They actually created a program.
Okay.
How to get the black people to serve the white community for the next 1,000 years. And he put the program specifically how that needs to be done, starting from division, That's how we have been divided from that 200 years ago, from that left, from the woman to the man, from the with your color, from the dark to the light, from the children to. So they have created that, and we have that syndrome still.
Well, I choose to focus
Now, yeah,
on
yeah.
Kujichagulia.
Yeah,
I'm
2025.
gonna be
But we gotta know the
self-determined.
history though.
Well,
Why we the way
well,
we
I
are
agree with
as
you.
a community, because it was designed. We can go back. That's why we
Really?
need our reparation. We need our
Oh
equity
Lord.
here and in Africa. If they don't do that, honestly to God, I'm just saying, this world is gonna go down and down and down. It's
We're
gonna
not gonna
go
let
to
that happen.
the
We're
yeah,
gonna work with you, and whoever is serious about reparative justice
yeah,
and can talk in a cognitive way about the damage that was done here in
yeah,
California.
yeah.
Because when I was a kid, we would celebrate the birth of California. And
Mm,
most people have no idea when California was born and how it was born.
yeah,
And then, so, absent that knowledge, how are you going to have reparative
yeah,
justice
yeah,
for something that happened in California, and California wasn't even a state?
yeah,
It
yeah,
makes no logical sense to me.
yeah.
And so I have to, like, spend my
Whichever way
limited
makes sense, we
time.
gotta just get the
We gotta
fun.
do it. We
As
gotta
soon
do
as
it.
we get the fun, we
Right.
can sustain our own community.
Yeah.
We can create our own alternative,
Everything.
everything, food, alternative, even education. We have
Everything.
no alternative, so
Yeah,
we're
we no,
stuck.
wait a minute now. We okay, on the positive side. We have a whole school system, Fortune School. Wait a minute, I met her when this was just an idea.
But that's one.
What I'm
We
saying,
need
she
a
got
hundred of
okay, so
her to
we
sustain
do.
our
We
community.
do need 100 of her.
Yeah.
So, but if we don't understand that this black woman that was born in right outside of Sacramento County or in Sacramento County, but lived up there in the foothills, and now has created a system because she was in a system that wasn't working, and she created a system that is working.
No,
Now,
but
is it
she
perfect?
still has to follow the system here.
Well,
I'm talking about when I say alternative school, how we can teach our kids about music, their culture, their history. They took all that away from our school, business, entrepreneurship, trading. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, the Western school, I mean, it's available. That's what Fortune School is, because you have to follow their
well, wait a
curriculum
minute now.
to do all that.
I just saw the Fortune School band. They just came back from a trip from back south and down in New Orleans, and they think that they, you know, are a HBCU band at a high school, and they throw down. They a black band. They playing real music, singing real song, acapella. They're doing things the way they're supposed to be done with
Right.
real music. Fortune School. You,
Not every school has that. They
well,
have a curriculum what they
I
teaching.
don't know. I'm
That's what
just
I'm
saying I
saying. It's
saw the
not.
band and they was throwing
I'm
down.
not trying to say. I mean, at least we have that, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
even letting her function the way we want to function. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
When I
okay,
say
so
alternative school, skill school, where we build skills,
well,
where we
yeah,
build
yeah,
trades.
right.
Our youth,
I agree with
our
you.
lack of opportunity, when everybody comes from the whole world, get that opportunity. Do you see what I mean? But our kids don't have no opportunity.
But
Instead, they're
no,
killing each other
I
because
agree with
they
you,
don't have
Zia.
trading in school.
Zia,
That comes from us, from
Zia.
the black community.
So I'm agreeing with you, and I'm sharing with you the growth and progress that we have. It's a black man who's the superintendent of public schools. It's a black man who's the
But
chancellor of
he still
UC
has to
Davis.
follow the
It's a
rules
black
and
man.
regulation
Oh
of
no, they
the.
create new. It's a brand new black school, honors college, the first one in the nation. They got a black football coach. Now this isn't that's not gonna change everything overnight, but it makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, we have
Like
come a long way, like you said. I mean,
like
compared to like what? It's not even in the
should,
60s
should you know?
with all this systemic
Of
system
course,
too.
Prime
But it's
said I'm
still,
coming.
they still need to change the
They're
system,
not gonna change the
invest
system.
in our
We are
community.
going to incrementally change the system. They are not changing nothing because it's working for them.
No,
It's
that's
not
what I'm
working
saying.
for
We
us.
have to make them
But
change it
the
through the
president,
policy.
the president at Sac State
Yeah, he's doing a lot
made.
of good work.
Well, okay, so now
Yeah,
we break it down into the high schools. Some of the high schools you could get a 2 year degree while you in high school.
yeah,
While you in the nest, you could be going to college. saving money and educating yourself in a higher way. And so then you go to wherever you want to go to. You can leave and go to Harvard. You just saved enough money, you're getting good grades. You can go to Harvard. There's money for it. So we could do that. Not that Harvard is the best place to go, but I mean, you get a Harvard degree, if you're that bright, don't only go. Because it's the best and brightest, and that's who our kids are, the best and brightest. But we, as a community, we don't even celebrate Kwanzaa. So I don't know how we don't celebrate Kwanzaa, but we are to commit. I know you have the international fair. Is that your
Oh, the international Broadway International Festival. Yeah.
So October, great. That's even better. Because where we work with the Golden Harvest Festival with our Asian family, part of our Asian family, they move into November. So you can do yeah. The first thing that we work together, make that happen. We gotta make it work. 2025 is over. And that's it. It's right here where we are. We'll be open and this we got meetings in your place. And we can bring people here. We can bring politicians from the state, all levels, right here to your place. And we can have a conversation. Say what? And have, what exactly are you going to do? And to show that. So you can be worse. We're not worried about the city.
No. You gotta make sure. Not worse than the one we had. No.
Well, okay. To be fair, I was born and raised in this town, right?
Yeah.
We've had city managers that, you couldn't even go into their office. And that,
Yeah.
but the reality is you have to have relationships with people.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to invest the time in a relationship, you're going to have to invest the time in a lobbyist.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the money, it's best for you to go talk to people.
But it shouldn't be like that. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the city councils and the mayor and the city manager, all of them should create a relationship with the community that they serve.
Well, the lucky thing, the new mayor said he's going to want to talk to people. So you need to call him and tell him to call him. Well, and then other people, because you can't. Yeah, he's the new mayor.
Yeah. He was a legislator.
He was an assembly member. He was a city council member.
And he also part of Black Caucus.
He's a black man.
Yeah, he was part of a Black Caucus, and he knows how to write policy. He actually was the one who sponsored for the reparation when it comes to the policy for education.
Well, he was the chair of the education committee for funding. So again, we have people that know what they're doing. Yeah. He's been there for 40 years.
We just have to make them accountable.
What the problem remains is, all we need is 5 people. We go down there with 5 people that's singing the same music. It's just like, lift every voice. They can sing on key. Where it's sounding good. And then drop down some policy that's looking good. And then walk out the room. Let them read it.
That's how we got, honestly, that's how we won the County West Equity too. It was just not even 5 of us. We fought for
where he go? Y'all beat him up. Equity. Where's Malachi? I ain't seen him in 5 years.
He's working on his
he's working.
Business.
He's working. I ain't seen him since. But see, Malachi, because of the relationships he established as he worked at the Capitol.
And he also understands policy.
Because he worked at the Capitol. He knew these people. Right. I remember when he first got started, running around a little GT drop top. He was writing for the Observer. And then,
And he worked in the government.
Of course, because he wanted some money.
Yeah, so that's
and he knew what he was doing.
He's the only one. We need, like I said, 1,000 of him. He can't just only have the whole, that's why we need more policy writers, more lawyers, more legislators, really. I mean, in our community. That's why we need them in there.
You're not going to get no argument. You and I know we've had to be all of those things.
Yeah.
And fund the
Yeah.
lobbyists
Yeah.
because you were the lobbyist.
I have to do my own lobby, like knock, knock, knock.
But you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
It only takes 5 people.
Yeah. It does.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
That are on the same page.
Yeah.
That can
And
say
making them accountable.
Kujichagulia
Yeah.
all together.
Yeah.
And then say this is what we want.
That's
and
right.
lay it on the table. Let them read it.
Yeah.
And give them a little time to read it. Go call their staff back and say, "Have you read it?"
Yeah.
You got to ask them in a soft voice, "Have you read it?"
Yeah.
Because you can't come with the "I want what's
this,
in
I
it,"
want that.
and they haven't read it yet because they got a stack like this to read. But we have been patient.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all been in the streets. I'm too old. I can't walk fast. So I'll meet y'all at the meeting. I can't do that walking. I got old injuries because But the idea is, you only need a committed few.
Yes.
And that are all on the same page.
Absolutely.
And we get the hidden agendas out of the way. You put the agenda on the table, and we piece this together.
Yeah.
Because if you say, "I want 1%," and then you get the 1%, and our cousins, Pookie and them, wasn't in the conversation, they gonna want 1% too, and we brokered the deal, and here's the deal for the 1%.
Yeah. But the thing is, the reason why I say it works 1% for us, because of the disparity they created, the wealth gap they created. That is right there. The poverty they created.
It is.
All that is. It's not our fault. It was created that way. So they need to fix it and repair it. I don't need them repairing the road. We don't need too much spend on our freaking road already been fixed. They keep on spending. Why not repair the people that you destroyed deliberately? Otherwise, your kids are gonna pay for it. And they are already, from mental health, from all kind of diseases, already these kids are paying for it.
Zion, how many more like you in Ethiopia?
It's not about Ethiopia.
No. Okay,
it's about humanity.
Okay, well, how many?
I'm all about the before we fought for civil rights movement, civil rights, our black people, our ancestors. Now we're fighting for human rights, the basic access to our kids and women and children and everybody else. Basic access we don't have. Access to nutrition food we don't have. Access to housing. Even though we only 2% of black people in California, 40% of the homeless is black people. That's not acceptable.
Okay,
Even though we have healthcare,
let me ask you
our
this.
people are dying from lack of access to healthcare. That's a human right in United Nations. Human right. There are 30 human rights that we can fight for, state level, federal level, every level, that been not giving it to our community.
This year be our 25th Rosa Parks Day, California Rosa Parks Day.
Yeah.
And I want you to be a part of it this year.
Going.
You remember where we used to come into the restaurant talking about fine Ethiopian cuisine and roses and go to get a big. We didn't have no black cake makers then that had bonded, so because insurance and all that. We got them now, but we had big cakes with roses on it. With
we have so much.
They made so the idea though is the same thing that Rosa Parks was fighting for back in 1955. Where we couldn't even sit on the bus the way we wanted to. You pay your fare, you get off the bus, go on and go back. So the fight is the same fight.
Yeah,
it's
in different way.
It's the same fight. The fundamental public policy is it's not equal.
It's not equal.
And you can see that. But if you don't honor the bridges that brought us far that way and take a step, and so we'll do that. And it's Black History Month, but behind that is Women's Her Story Month. And then come April, if we don't have policy in the hopper that we could actually move, we gotta wait till next year. But so we have work to do over the next 120 days. But then there's so much good that's happening. And at the federal level, my name is Harris. I was hoping that we have a black woman by the name of Harris in the White House. That's not going to happen. So we got a man in the White House that's been there before, so we know
Yeah.
we get through it. But you're gonna have to talk a different way, talking
Yeah.
to him and his administration.
What?
That's what we're gonna have to do. We gotta. It's gonna be $1 trillion.
Even at the federal level,
It's
look
$1
at them.
trillion.
They print $5 trillion budget. How many percentage of it coming to our black community who built this country for 400 years? I mean, if we don't see it that way,
We have to.
you know, American government pays the British from helping them from World War II.
Right.
But they're not paying African American for 400 years for working for free.
We haven't asked for it, and when we did ask for it,
Reparation,
that's two different conversations.
equity.
Okay, but the bill HR 40 that got dropped in the John Conyers introduced it for years and years and years, and then Sheila Jackson Lee introduced it for years and years and years. They dead and gone. So we'll see who picks up the mantle this go round.
Okay.
Somebody gonna do it.
Yeah.
But
I hope
Hakeem
so.
Jeffries' brother is bad. Now he's a bad lawyer. He was trained well
Yeah.
and taught well
Yeah.
in law school, trained well around the dinner table with his uncle Leonard Jeffries. But he is the ranking member. So
But why isn't he saying people like him? This is why I have a problem with our people.
you gotta talk to him.
So why is he saying? Why is he not asking for reparation at the federal level, just like how they paid everybody else?
He is
And they're still
asking.
paying the British.
They're not.
American government is
of
paying the
course.
British, but they're not paying the people who built this country.
They're-
I mean,
because
how's that?
This is how it
Federal
works.
level
This
is
is how it works.
good.
If you don't have an official study, which is all HR 40 is asking for, is an official study for the damage that have been done, you can't bring it to the floor. And so right now, the committee chairs are in Republican hands, and they are not bringing a reparations bill. I don't care what you say
Because
to them.
they don't want to give us the fund.
Well,
That's why.
well-
Because if they give the black people the fund, now we can create our own businesses, our companies. You know, in the companies, it's worse than saying that. You know how they used to have this is for white, this is for black. Now
The drinking fountains.
yeah, the companies they don't want us to go to the companies. It's not fair.
So
because
should
of
we
the
bring back the
fund.
drinking fountains?
No, they are already
Because
we
it was
can't get
the
into
same water
No,
coming
because
out
they-
the
no,
white
yeah,
fountain.
but
and
the
black.
same thing, the
So-
same money coming out of the federal level or the state level to invest in these big companies.
Right.
Why not invest in our community?
Well, Zion, we
How
have
do
to
you
go
think
down there.
Silicon Valley was built? And the other thing, let me tell you what at the federal level, why are they printing so much money for the war, but they're not printing to fix the community they destroyed? I don't understand how everybody benefits. The whole world benefit of America, but not the community that sacrificed and paid for America. How is that possible?
Let's first go
It
down.
shouldn't be the
to
other way around. In
Sacramento.
fact, shouldn't it be the community
I agree
that
with you, but
who should
I
be
can-
benefit first
no different than
before the whole world come and benefit
Zion.
on America?
Yeah. No different than we walk into Sacramento. We need 5 people in the room. It's the same process in Washington D.C.
So you're telling me there are no black politicians and lawyers and policy writers to ask that for their community? 5 people? We don't have 5 people at the federal level to write a policy to bring the fund, just like how they write a policy to pay war. Why can't we write a policy to print the money so they can invest that money into our ghetto
you and I are
community?
going to have to do it because when
And
it was
our
time to
hood
write
community.
the farm bill, and we get ready to write another one, we are getting ready to write another one. It's almost $1 trillion in a 4-year appropriation. And so, when I was, had people that were sponsoring, paying for the tickets, paying for the hotels,
Yeah.
I was in there writing policy. And so we have an urban agricultural office in the USDA, and my email is urban agriculture. Now I could sell that and make a whole lot of money. And I can do this, I can do that, that. But how it happens, you have to have relationships with the people that are in the room cutting up the money.
Yeah, so what about all these policy writers in Obama and all those people? They have relationship. So why don't we write a policy? Why don't write a policy to print the money to bring it? If it was me, I would say until you print for our African community, you're not printing no money for war. Nobody's saying that. And then our kids still pay for it. And they die on the streets.
So why don't you say it?
From lack of knowledge.
Why don't you
I'm saying it, I'm going to eventually. I don't have the power to go to the federal eventually.
Yes, you do. You have the power.
Eventually, I don't have the money. Once we have the fund, we have to pay lawyers and policy writers and people. That's what I'm saying. But it shouldn't be just the whole thing on me.
It is.
What I'm saying is.
Because ain't nobody else saying this, Zion. You tell me one other person saying this in Sacramento. And the people that are talking loud, they have their.
We're going to 2025. They're not ready for it. We'll be fighting the policy for first state level. We're going to be lobbying on January 7th on the Capitol. You better be there. We'll be knocking on every legislators to say if we have to educate them. I mean, for me to educate them.
Before you educate them. And look, y'all. This is like global black woman. Thank you. When you see, I am too. When you see that hip go to 45 degrees, ain't no sense in you going no further until that arm moves. And so, what we have to do is go up to the Capitol and introduce ourselves. Yeah. Matter of fact, we should host a reception for the legislature at your restaurant. No different than we invited. You took the food down and all the food and board, they ate the food, right? Yeah. They was all smiling. Ooh, this is good. This is good. How can I help? I want to be a part of it. Because they was eating the food, right? And ain't nobody black that went to the food and ag board meeting talking about eat some Ethiopia. And I mean, they'll tell you what you can only ask for 1%. They'll take 1%. They give back those 1%. But they're going to ask this question. And we all know. When you talk to the NAACP, and you talk to the urban, and you talk to, black leaders that are going to get a piece of that 1%, right? And you just have to go in on that. And you got to talk to them and say, hey, look, you can get 1%. 1%.
Yep, that's right.
But see, the thing is again, it's relationships. Yeah. Because the leaders of a lot of the black organizations here are not from Sacramento, and they haven't been, I would say, nurtured from the ground up. It's like yourself. You were in England, right? Yeah. But you have been down in the trenches, and you came and got me and said, hey, look, man, this brother's been beat up. We got to do something for him, right? Yeah. And you loved on the family in a way down in Meadowview, when I was all, next to death. Yeah. And coming to your restaurant, how'd you get it? I was like, I don't know. I just need to eat something before I get to the hospital. I'm laughing at this, but this is what happened to our community. Yeah. We are not well, and we need to get well. Yeah. And so, if we do what we've already done in the past, is go introduce ourselves to people that some of them you haven't met. Some of these people I've known for 30 years don't live in Sacramento. Like Laura Richardson, who's a senator now, that's from Long Beach. I know her when she was city councilwoman in Long Beach. I know the peoples. And
we
so
gotta reach out to them.
It's
and
not
make
about
them do it.
Their heart is in the right place. Yeah. They just need some help to be effective.
I mean, they're not bad people. I'm not saying
not bad people at all.
They're good people. They just don't know.
Well, though they know, what I'm saying is, like I said, she represents Long Beach. Yeah. But the same issues that are happening here in Sacramento are happening in Long Beach. Yeah. They ain't got no farmers feeding people. I should say they don't have enough black farmers feeding the people in Long Beach that's hungry. Yeah. And so that's something that we can do. They're not going to have a problem. They're going to say, do you have any black people that want to go back and farm it? I said, yes, we do. And now we have a program and a project that they can fund. in a historic town that black people was in before. You say, she's like, don't say that word.
No,
No, because the history is what it is. But if you go back and say, well, how could black people have a town when California is just barely being set up and they still have land, a lot of land, and enough land to go back into production? But these people are old and they're not going for no foolishness. The reason why they have what they have is because they didn't go for foolishness and they didn't trust people, so they just got their land and still live on the land. But what's the future going to be? And they listen. They listen to Zion. She has a footprint in this historical community because she deserves it. Because she's done the work and she's determined, self-determined. Kujichagulia. She's been doing it. And so now that you got 5 acres, right, with some options to get more. But if the community doesn't come in here and say, hey, look, take trips to go to your farm when it's in production and say, hey, look, you can't be bringing no diseases up here, so put on these slippers and booties and partner with the schools so there are field trips and the schools are paying and they can encourage other people to get into the agricultural industry, this $400 billion industry, and then say, hey, look, well, how come black people aren't part of this industry no more? And so we have to be self-determined to do it. So again, like we've done from the beginning, we're going to work together.
That's what we're going to do. So now we're going to get into the farming industry, the agriculture industry, the service industry, the technology industry, the AI industry. We're not any, that's why we have so much to do. We're not even anywhere near manufacturing industry. You know, we're not even 1% of us in the manufacturing industry.
We start right here because I remember going to the airport to customs and trying to get some coffee out there. So we going and all of this is agriculture based. If you go to the port, right, to get stuff out of the customs, they gotta sign up with the agriculture stuff. Is there any phytosanitary diseases? This come from Africa. Is it clean?
But our food we eat is here chemical. We're eating chemical food.
But so we've changed some of that rules and regulations again. You just made up something because you didn't want that coming in the room from Africa. Is this? It's a drum. Is there a weapon in here? Yeah, it's a goat skin. And I play this, and you won't think it's a weapon because it sounds like they gonna come and get me. And they scared. They don't want an African drum. Nobody playing no 5'10" black men playing an African drum and sisters dancing, looking like gorillas. They just swole up so big because they got so much oxygen in their bloodstream, and they dancing to the gods, and people get scared. I was like, what you doing? It's quite entertaining. So today we were at Capitol, and again, celebrating Kwanzaa, Kujichagulia, and you see the Chinese kids coming in playing the violin. But see,
they were playing for Merry Christmas.
See, the Chinese are smart. They understand. White folks say they ain't in there like singing Chinese and got this. They ain't singing the Ho Chi Minh or they ain't singing the Sun Yat Sen. They singing Christmas on Kwanzaa, right? Christmas is over, been over, but it's on the schedule, and they got their kids there. They're performing, and grandparents is in there, and the elders are doing it. They performing for the Shi son. They talking about when Chinese was Christians, but the businesses coming from China, and President Xi ain't Christian, or he hiding it well if he is.
We didn't see no Kwanzaa. I mean, we were there in one room.
No, we was in one room.
But the whole thing was about the Asians, the Chinese playing, all the Christmas and all that music.
Black people don't want to come. How long have I been doing it for 25 years?
It's okay. Next year we'll do Kwanzaa.
No, I'm saying is
we'll be ready to do our Kwanzaa.
Because we've been doing it for 25 years. Some years we have churches and we fill up the rooms, have the biggest room in the Capitol, and we've had drums there before we do.
That is what it is.
It
It's up to
is
us.
what
I
it
know
is.
what you mean.
We have to be self-determined.
Yeah.
There are,
Yeah.
like I said, there's
That's the
people
whole
in this
point.
community
Yeah.
that, why are we doing Kwanzaa in the capital? People actually said that. I was like, well, why did you come? You don't have to come.
Yeah.
We're doing Kwanzaa in the capital
Like you
because
said,
we're self-determined,
Yeah.
and we have to have relationships with
Yes.
people. They don't have a problem with the menorah in front of the
Yeah.
Capitol. They don't have a problem with the Christmas tree in the
Yeah.
Capitol. But they got a problem with this black man that's been doing Kwanzaa in the Capitol for 25 years.
Yeah.
And won't say Habargani. The
Yeah.
news is, I don't like what you're doing.
Yeah. That is what it is.
I'm
People
sorry,
gonna
baby.
criticize
I'm sorry.
regardless.
But the blessing is,
Mm.
when the community comes together, like in other cities, and I don't think, well, I might consider it, since you think there might be a new city manager. We go in and say, hey, look, we need $100,000 to do Kwanzaa,
Yeah.
and they'll write the check if we go in there and ask them, and we say, well, what's
This
your
community
what's
has
your
to come
outreach?
together
The committee
for
will do
us.
it.
Yeah.
The thing is because it's been open to everybody, and we've
Yeah.
always going to be that way, and they know that you're going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But the idea is, it never occurred to me to do that.
Yeah.
But I know it's possible,
We're gonna do that.
because if we do a big
Yeah.
3-day celebration of Kwanzaa like
In fact,
they
we
do,
7 days because the
we're not
new
gonna do all
year.
7 days.
The
I'm too
new
old for
year.
that.
The new year. No, I'm gonna do
7-day
days.
party, I can't do
Because
it.
it is important. Sometimes you can do a whole 7 days festival
Oh Lord
because
have mercy.
after Christmas, every day makes sense until New Year.
Okay.
That's
okay.
7 days
So
until New Year.
let's try 3 years. So this is what happens next year. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday. Let's do that then.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's plan on it for
Well,
next
then
year.
it's done.
You better be
We'll start it.
because it's important.
Because today's Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And so today, it's Kwanzaa. There's Kwanzaa tonight in Del Paso. Tomorrow is Saturday night. Where are they at tomorrow night?
Del Paso.
No, it was tonight. Well, it might be another one in Del Paso tomorrow. Tonight they were at the library. I think tomorrow Saturday. We'll say Community Church is doing it at the Del Roberts Center or the Roberts Center. I'm sorry, Tina. The Roberts Center. I was there when Tina and Robert got married. Anyway, and then Sunday, it's out at the African Marketplace, and we were out at Historic Negro Bar, and the church in West Sacramento is having it, and that's fine. There's many others that I don't know about. There's some in the Bay Area.
It's getting bigger though, compared to.
Of course, it's getting bigger. But before it was, everybody was in one building and was busting at the seams, right?
Yeah. Now everybody wanted to
Well,
do their own.
it's 7 days.
Yeah,
You're supposed to do
okay.
your own.
Yeah.
And so my partner Harvey is in New Orleans, and they get ready to throw down.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How'd you get the governor to do Kwanzaa?" I said, "I didn't call him. They we in his house. The staff is saying, look, we need to do something for Kwanzaa." I didn't call him and ask him. I didn't call him and ask him to write for resolutions and stuff to say celebrate Kwanzaa. I can have done it in the past, but it's not next year because we're gonna do a big citywide Kwanzaa on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So get ready for the citywide. Queen Sheba.
Collaborating with Black Agriculture.
And we're gonna actually have first fruits of the harvest.
Yes, by then we should have some fruit.
We have it now.
Yeah,
we have the problem is we have to have, like you were dealing with the USDA. You have to be legal and licensed to be in a public space. You could bootleg food and sell it at the house. You ain't gotta sell it at all. But if you're gonna have food on the road, I'm not fooling with you, because they coming to me say you know better, and then I'm not going to jail because I call the sheriff and say, hey man, I didn't do this. And then he gonna look at me and he gonna shake his head. He said, let this boy out. Give him an ankle brace until we figure it out. Or the CHP, they like, well, we ain't had a problem with it in 25 years. I don't know why he would change now.
Change.
But I'm not going to change it. I could get worse if I change.
For better, for better.
Well, but so what I'm saying. Well, of course people change for the better. What I'm saying is, it's like the mayor who just left. People say he's good, he's going to be bad. It doesn't matter. I was there when he first got there, and he's one of the rarest ones that he stayed the same. His personality never changed. His policy. You're not going to agree with everybody on everything. I don't care what happens. But he's the same person, and that's all you can ask for a politician. And so when you have a relationship,
I mean, he did pass. I mean, I give him credit.
He did some good stuff. He did some bad stuff.
The good stuff he did it last minute. He could
have done it earlier.
I mean, it's still good. He passed the racial equity.
Well,
but before he left, why he could have done that long time ago? But it's okay. I'm not going to complain that.
Okay, so let me tell you. In the city charter, how the city of Sacramento was established back when they had slavery auction lots in old Sacramento. The city of Sacramento was 175 years. They ain't celebrating no party because they don't want to talk about what they've done, how they briefly and hard people. There you go. All these black people don't want to talk about that because we start talking about it, they start, talking over me, cutting me off, and we don't want to talk about that. I said, well, I just said, you want to talk about reparations, you want to talk about the slavery auction lot right here in old Sacramento. You want to talk about the black women at hotels in old Sacramento. You don't want to talk about the early black churches in Sacramento. And what conversations they had written down and snipped what happened in Sacramento. But you want reparations in Sacramento for what happened in Arkansas. I can't give you that mental illness. You can't get reparations for what happened in Arkansas, Sacramento, and Sarah talk about what happened in Sacramento.
Our city first, our state, and our state. Okay, I can go to the federal. If I go to the federal, I'll go crazy. No, because the federal, how they invest the money into, they have USAID. $73 billion they spend in the name of developed countries. But none of them, not even 1% of it goes to Africa. So this is the thing that, I mean, I don't even want to go there because...
Zion, we go there all the time.
But eventually,
so watch this.
Let's focus on here.
We have enough stripes on our arm. We don't have to ask nobody else to have a conversation about Pan-African Global Trade Investment. Because we hosted the conference. We put everybody on our back, and they just kept stomping on our back.
We got to take it back. I'm serious. Because there's nothing, nobody's fighting for nothing. I'm saying, at the federal level, there's another evil shit in there.
Well,
like how deliberately they don't support the black community here, the black people in Africa, everybody, even Europe gets money to develop. They already developed. You see what I
mean? Kujichagulia.
Yeah.
We have to be self-determined to create for ourselves. To define ourselves, to speak for ourselves.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
And we're doing it.
Yeah.
And all we need is 5. And you've seen it work. You were laughing. You like, just work.
It works. I'm serious. Even those 5 don't show up. Even 3 people show up.
They had to show up.
Yeah.
And then we went to the meeting. We went to the meeting after the Food and Ag Board meeting. We went to the meeting out at Davis.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Burhead came, and the white dude in the corner. White dude. He was white. And he says, I have 5 acres. He whispered in my ear, I got 5 acres. I said, hey, look, y'all. We got the land. He just said we got 5 acres. So and look, you the chair, right? Yeah. And I start talking crazy to him. I'm like, so call the dean. Let's fix this. We can do that. And we had the clinical trials, right? Yeah. People like, that's unheard of. Yeah. I said, no, you get a group of people in the room that want to see it happen. Yeah. And something happened with his wheat production, and he wasn't able to use this 5 acres, so there's 5 acres sitting there, ready to go. I said, you sure? Yeah. Sure?
When you do the work, magic happens. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're gonna do the work.
And then after the magic happened, we got so happy. We thought everything was gonna be good, and then they had 5 devils came and they organized.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, your restaurant burning up.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. I'm
So
in the
much,
air
yeah.
talking about, oh, wow, this is not
Yeah.
gonna be good.
Yeah. So much happened, but at the end of the day, God.
God has saw through
Yeah,
it.
that's what I'm saying.
And so God didn't bring us all this way.
That's what we have to have faith.
And all we need is
On the 7, especially the 7
the
principles.
Nguzo Saba.
Yes, the
And
7,
there's so
that's
many
important.
the people that have
Without
been calling
faith,
while we sitting there trying to do this
yeah,
are good people that's gonna help.
yeah.
And they're gonna say,
You're
are you
gonna help.
sure?
Everybody's gonna
You
help.
sure you're gonna work with Zion? They're gonna say, are you sure you're gonna work?
Yeah, everybody's gonna work with everybody. I tell people we're not trying to marry each other. We're trying to work with each other.
This is 25 years. Matter of fact, I was in the restaurant one day, minding my own business, just to come see my sisters. It's like, oh, that's kind of a cute girl. So I just sat down and started eating her food, right?
Yeah.
And I should have married that woman, but she married somebody else. I'm gonna have to find another one.
Find you a good woman.
Oh no, they good women all around. I said the problem is I have to decide if I'm gonna be a good man.
You're a good man. We have, everybody we all have our own up and down, whatever good and bad. But the thing, like you said, the key is how do we come together for the same purposes to not only for ourselves, for our family, our community, eventually to the human nation. But right now, we not even there as people. You see what I mean? Let alone help our community and nation. Now we're trying to help our community. We need the fund. They're not helping. What is it?
The money is there. We just have to ask
Yeah,
with
we
the
just have to ask,
expectation
yes.
that what we ask for,
Yeah,
here's where it is, and this is what
why,
we want, and this is what we're gonna do with it.
We'll do that.
Because we've never done it like that, and it works if we do
just
it that
go
way.
in there. Oh, what is it? Give me. We can march all day, every day. That's
Ain't
why I
doing
tell
no marching.
people.
I'll be
if
there
we
when
don't,
y'all
if we
finish
don't,
marching.
if we don't write it on the paper and policy to change the stuff that they've been functioning, we can march all day, every day for the next 30 years. They just pretend as if, yeah, go ahead.
Well,
and they don't do nothing.
There's people that get
They don't
paid to
change
march.
nothing.
There's people that get paid to make noise.
Yeah.
And they get paid to like discredit and disparage, and destroy things that can actually help sustain over time.
Yeah.
They want to make a little bit of money right now because they want to go buy a house or a car or pay for a significant other while they wife. Of course, but the black community is not the only community that does this. A lot of communities do it. This is part of politics. It's the only thing worse than politics is religion.
I'm not even gonna go there. We gotta go. We can talk about that all day, every day. But religion is personal. That's what most people don't know. You know, Haile Selassie said, country is everybody's. But religion is individual, is personal. You see what I mean? So the religion I have, where I'm at with God is different where you are. So that's why
it is personal.
It's personal. It's absolutely personal. But we gotta go,
That's God calling.
So I'm not even gonna get there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's Sunday. No, it's not. It's Friday.
It's Friday. So
and they're popping over there.
All
is good.
They're calling me like, what are
you?
So
we made some commitment.
Oh, thank you.
And
yes.
so
we'll
put it down.
Next year,
we're gonna once
by next year.
Once the dust settles in the new year.
Yes.
Are you going to your Ethiopian Christmas this year?
I'll be actually January 7th will be Ethiopian Christmas, but I'll be lobbying at the Capitol.
Okay, so you'll be
January
here. So
7th.
Probably the 3rd or 4th or something like that.
Yes.
We have another session, pull out our pencil and paper like we normally do, and
make
be
sure
clear on what we're going to do.
Involved. That's what we're saying.
All we need is 4 or 5 to get started.
That's
because the relationships down at the Capitol, we got to be clear. I'm not going down there until I got people that are clear because.
Yeah, we got.
I got 30-year relationships with folks.
Well, I bet you. We're gonna update everybody.
For somebody that's going there and act crazy.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us and all that. We appreciate you, but at the same time, we need people to get involved to educate themselves what policy legislation is, reparation, equity, spaces. We need the fund, resource, and the spaces. That's all we're asking. Once we get there, then we can take care of not only ourselves, we can take care of our family and community.
Yeah.
And we're not asking too much.
No,
And
everybody just give a
we
little
got
bit.
this.
We good.
Yes, that's right. Thank you everyone for